Hello folks, this is Sula once again. Welcome to another video for Teamfight Tactics. This is a game where we're going to be looking at a keeper's team composition. This is taken from a normal game that I am doing alongside the Walloper. We have been doing some kind of informal Teamfight Tactics games on Wednesday evenings, North American time. Wednesday because that's when the patches come out for Teamfight Tactics. And this was just one of the games that we did. We didn't have anyone else around. Grillo had joined us for a little bit earlier, but could only stay for one game. And so we're just going to do this normal mode game here. And I'm going to end up playing into a Keepers team comp, although it's going to take a little bit for that to pop up. Keepers reemerged as a team composition, I'd say about halfway through Teamfight Tactics set 4.5. It particularly started to take off as a team composition after Kennen as a unit received a rather substantial buff. I don't remember exactly what patch it was, but as I said, it was about halfway through set Teamfight Tactics set 4.5. He just got like big increases to his numbers, and that kind of made running a Keeper's team composition viable. There's a number of different units that Keepers can play through. Kennen is kind of the featured unit. Xayah also tends to be a featured unit. And then you're typically also looking to play through some other carry unit that is associated with Cultists. This is a comp that very frequently will play through Cultists as well, just because at the 1 cost level you have Elise, who is both a keeper and also a cultist. So for the moment, I'm just waiting to see what we get. When I saw the initial Twisted Fate on the first carousel, Twisted Fate with a needlessly large rod, I thought, oh, you know what? Maybe this will be a mage game. That seems like a good way to start out, a useful item on a champion. It's always nice when you can get a champion that can actually use the starting item, so you don't just have to immediately sell it. You know, like getting a BF sword on a Tom Kench or something. Like, you probably will need to sell that. And note that I haven't gotten any chosen through the first couple rounds here, so I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. I have gotten a number of champions, so I can look to level. I should have no trouble going ahead and leveling up to, pre-leveling to 4 here. And I do find a pike, so I can put in cultists, so that's nice. And then we'll go ahead and pre-level, so that we'll have level 4 and get better odds of finding a chosen that maybe could be a 2-cost chosen instead of a 1-cost chosen. But with Galio in here, even without anything else, we should be at least decently strong for the start of the game. And then I get even more gold in the form of this Katarina. So I've gotten a lot of gold. Haven't gotten much in terms of items, though. Just the 2 items. But and there's Yumi as well. So I am very rich in terms of money. And I've always said that I tend to like this start. I think it's nice to get all the gold early on. And with the Katarina, I'm like, all right, well, I'll just play the cat, and then we've got Cultist 3, Assassin 2, Keeper 2 here, so that seems like a good way to start the game, even though I only have one of all these units. So I was thinking, I've got it's a Keeper Elise, not a Cultist Elise, and because of that, I'm going to look to play into Keeper, whereas if I had a Cultist Elise, I would probably look to play into Cultist here. But as I said, we'll just play the Katarina right now alongside the Pike, and that, along with Galio, should give us some damage here for the early game. So let's talk a little bit about the Keeper's trait in general. So what does the Keeper's trait do? If you've played the game, you're probably at least somewhat familiar with what it does, but basically it grants everyone a shield at the start of combat if they stand next to each other. Standing next to Keeper's units provides a shield for anyone who stands next to the Keeper's units. And as the Keeper trait goes up in ranks, the shield is larger and it lasts for more time. There you can see 150 shield, 8 seconds at Keeper 2. And then it goes up from 8 seconds to 10 seconds, and then to 12 seconds if you can get all the way up to Keeper 6. And the value of the shield keeps going up too. I believe it's in this patch, it's 150, 200, and 250 at the 3 different ranks of Keeper 2, Keeper 4, and Keeper 6. So the other thing you have to keep in mind is as you put in more Keeper units, you are not just getting a bigger shield, you are also just getting more shield in general. Like if you have 4 Keeper units in, each of those 4 Keeper units provides its own shield. And a chosen Keeper unit is particularly nice because it counts as two copies of a Keeper unit. So like even though I only have 1 Keeper unit in right now, at least counts as 2 copies of being a Keeper. So, it kind of stacks multiplicatively, if I can talk, kind of stacks multiplicatively in this sense, in that you are getting both more units in providing the shield and the amount of shield each unit provides goes up as well. So like I said, there is some synergy there as Katarina ults absolutely nothing here. But the good news is it looks like we still have more than enough to finish off this other player because they were only level 3. and I had gone to level 4. So yeah, I'm at 10 gold already on 2-2, which is really nice, and got the early win streak going. So I can look to grab another pike here, grab another TF here, and I can pre-level, and I'll still be over 10 gold. So this means I'm very rich at this stage of the game. I have a lot more money than you normally would. The fact that I can pre-level before stage 2 carousel, so I'll be level 5 after the carousel, and I'm still over 10 gold, so I'm still getting that interest mechanic. Right now, I'm just looking to scout through the other teams, seeing what other people have, looking to see if other people are playing Keeper. It's not at all uncommon to play Cultist and Keeper in the early game, but in this game, because I have the Keeper Elise, I'm going to look to dive deeper into the trait and play up to the Keeper 4 and Keeper 6 levels. All right, so here we have a duelist team composition. And the good news is Katarina's in very good position. The bad news is Elise takes a while to get her ult off and transform into her spider form. But once she does that, she's actually pretty good at tanking because she's getting that lifesteal back. And then Kat gets off a good ult, and that should be enough to win this with no problems. So we win all the initial 3 rounds. It's always great to do that, get off to a good start. As I said, very rich right now, getting a lot of money. And we'll have to look to see what we can take off of this carousel in order to keep getting stronger. Okay, so again, I have won all the rounds, so I'm going to have last pick. Walloper has also won his initial 3 rounds, so that's awesome. Love to see that. Always great to see both of us get out to a good start. The other 6 players in this lobby are random, but the 2 of us had queued together, and so we're hoping to both be able to top 4 here and go from there. Okay, so I have a choice of a couple different things, and I'm going to take the pike here because this will do 2 things. Number 1, it's going to make pike 2-star for me. That's a little bit bad because I actually want the belt plus rod to go together so I can make a Morellonomicon, which is one of Kennen's key items, and I'll be looking to play into Kennen. So it's a little bit sad that this forms the 2-star pike because now I'm going to have to sell pike to get the item off pike. And I know I'm going to have to do that because we've already gotten the lantern for this game, and it does not have an item remover in it. But the good news is that the pike can actually hold Morellonomicon pretty decently. So I will have him hold this item until I can find Kennen. And he's, like as I said, he's a decent holder of it because when he ults, he's going to dash across the field, and anyone he hits with his ult will get that burn effect. So overall, it's not terrible. It's just now I'm going to have to sell the pike. And this is a game where otherwise I might have a shot at a 3-star pike, but it doesn't look like that's going to have much of a chance now that I know I'm going to have to sell that pike in order to transfer his item over to Kennen later on, but it is what it is. All right, so we are up against, what is this? This is a Fortune comp that someone else is playing right now. So as long as we can stop Kat from getting a good ult off, their Katarina, not mine. Yeah, so we are able to stop their Kat from doing anything, and it's another win. And it's a pretty one-sided win here. So I'll go ahead and sell Trist and sell Brand to get up to 20 gold. I was holding Trist because I was hoping that if I could find an early Sivir, then I'd have the opportunity to look to play into sharpshooters by holding the Tristana. So we've got one more round before the end of stage 2, and I'm really hoping that I can win this round because that would allow me to carry this win streak into the minion round. I'm also at 29 gold, so if I can get the 1 gold for winning, I can go up to 30. So I'm really hoping I can win this. I'm trying to look at where the other comps are, see what other people are playing, see if there's a place I can reposition, but I don't really see any obvious place where I can move that's going to be better positioned than where I am right now. So I actually end up getting Walloper's team comp, and Walloper is going to be playing into Fabled in this game. He got a Vanguard Wukong Chosen, and Vanguard Chosens are good to play into this. And he also picked up an early Nico, so it's a good choice for him to play into this. Now, the problem is, in order to beat his team comp, I need to get on Nico and kill Nico. But unfortunately, my assassins were not able to do that. And once I'm unable to get on that Nico, as I see, my team just kind of falls apart. So unfortunately, I do lose that round. I can't carry the win streak through to the minion round. And I end up selling that extra Elise just to get to 30 gold. It does mean it's a little bit less likely I'll get 3-star Elise, but I wanted to hit the 30 gold income mark to get that extra point of income. Now you see me highlighting Cultist there. This is pre-recorded footage. I can't hold the highlighting the traits, unfortunately. Maybe in set 5 we'll have replays, but for now it's all pre-recorded footage. Anyway, so you saw me highlighting Cultist there, and Cultist is really pretty integral to playing this Keeper team comp. You generally want to play both Keeper and Cultist at the same time, and there's a number of reasons for that. I mean, it's always useful to have the Galio in your team, providing a little bit of extra crowd control, a little bit of extra damage. Oh, and here we're going to get a big gold drop, which is really nice. I mean, that's a ton of gold. So again, my economy's been accelerating pretty pretty significantly here. But the problem is I actually don't have much in the way of items. So that's a little bit sad. And there's not all that much I can do with the items here either. So I do want to get up to the next level. I want to get up to level 6 so I can look to play 4 keepers. But there's only so much that I can do right now. Anyway, to go back to the prior cultist point, you do want to play cultist because there's a couple different cultist units that are really key to running this comp. The first is Elise. She's cultist plus keeper, so it's an obvious synergy. Another one that comes along later, though, is Aatrox. Aatrox is really crucial to this team comp because Aatrox has his ult that's going to pull people towards him, and then that sets them up to get ulted by Kennen. Like right there, you see Kennen, who's kind of the featured unit in this team comp. He starts ulting, and then he just dies, and nothing happens. So yeah, that shows some of the weaknesses of Kennen. He's going to do a ton of damage if he gets a full channel ult off, but it's not always easy for him to get a full channel ult off, and it sometimes can be hard to get people in position to get hit by that Kennen ult. He wants a Guardian Angel, so he'll be able to get off his ult even if the Guardian Angel animation plays. So we finally kill this super tanky Tahm Kench. So he's going to want a Guardian Angel, and he's also going to want Morellonomicon. So I have most of that in place right here. I do have the Morellonomicon, so I'll go ahead and sell the Pike so I can get that in. Now the Katarina doesn't really have much point in this comp, so I'm going to have to look to get her out. I would love to replace her with like an Akali or something. Unfortunately, though, I have probably done this a little bit prematurely. I think that there was a mistake maybe to sell right here. I think I should have just gone to... 4 keepers and like just put in Kennen plus the Rakan, but not sell the Pike because look, I've lost Cultist and I've also lost Assassin, and what that's done is it's killed all my damage in this team comp. Like my team is very tanky. Look at the huge keeper shield that we're getting. But who does damage on this team now? Before I had the Pike and I had the Katarina, and they would do damage. And although Kat's still in there, she no longer has Assassin trait, so she's her spells can no longer crit. And without Warlord trait, Kat doesn't have enough health to get off her ult consistently. So I think I made my team quite a bit weaker there. I mean, like in the long run, my team can get stronger, but and you're going to see me make that immediate replacement and put Pike back in. So I'm fortunately I'm not punished over hard for this mistake because I'm able to put another Pike right back in that I find in the shop. And then you're going to see me roll a little bit here because I just wanted to get a little bit stronger. Usually I don't roll a lot at 6, but I had the money because I'd been getting all that gold, and I just wanted to roll to try to hit a little bit more. I was concerned about having my lack of damage, so I was able to 2-star the Rakan, and I was also able to get some more Elises, which was nice. Now I'm up to 7 Elises, and now I have a pretty realistic shot of looking to get up to... getting up to 3-star Elise later on, even though I sold that one Elise earlier in the shop. So, like I said, it's always kind of a decision you want to be thinking about, like, should I be rolling here? Do I need to roll to get stronger? And I think that was a situation where it was warranted. So Kennen gets off a decent ult, but he doesn't hit the Nunu in the back of this team. And as I said, we're just really suffering from low damage right now. Like I'm very tanky, I have great shielding, but if you can't actually kill anything, it's ultimately not going to matter. Like, most of these fights are going into overtime, as you see, but like we just don't have the damage to finish off these units. So that's what I need to look to do. I need to fix that problem, and I need to get more damage for my team comp so that the shields are actually meaningful. Okay, so right now, what I want to do is I really want to get one of these BF swords so I can make Guardian Angel on Kennen. That's what I'm looking to grab. I have taken a few hits here, so I've slipped down to the 3rd choice on Carousel, and all of the swords get taken. I was like, that's definitely not good there. Definitely not what I wanted. So I'm going to look around here, and I'm kind of struggling to find something, but I do see that there is a tier, and I can use that to make Hand of Justice. Sadly, it's on a 1-cost Tahm Kench, which is not what I want, but I can make Hand of Justice and put this on Kennen, and then if I just find a BF sword later on, I will have his Guardian Angel. So I'm still halfway there, but don't quite have exactly what I'm looking for. By the way, the Elises, tons of Elises. Looks like I could have been at 3-star already if I hadn't sold that earlier one, but I have 8 right now, and that's pretty good. So I'm going to roll a little bit more, and the reason for this is I'm looking for another damage. I'm looking for a unit that can do damage. So another unit that can do damage in this comp is you generally want either Callista or Sivir, one or the other, because they're another cultist, and they are another way to get damage. So you see I roll about 15 gold there, but this ended up being, I think that this was a really good decision because I was able to hit a 2-star Callista, and that will give me some additional damage in this comp. Callista's not ideal. There's no duelist for her to play through. And I also did hit the 2-star Jarvan, so I definitely got stronger there. Had some good luck in terms of what I found. but I just didn't think that I was doing enough damage, and I thought I needed to get stronger. So I went ahead and rolled, and as I said, I think it worked out, even though it did end up setting back my economy a little bit. Alternately, I also could have found Sivir. Sivir would honestly have been better here. You kind of want either Sivir or the Callista, because one of them can be a cultist. Remember, you need 3 cultists to activate the cultist trait. So we've got the Elise, we've got the Pike, and we've got the Elise, and we've got the Pike, and we now have the Callista in there. And then now I get 2 Sivirs, and I was like, huh. Well, I guess I'll pick these up, because I would prefer to play through Sivir. And the reason for that is Sivir plays better into a future Samira if you can find her. And Sivir's ult also synergizes better with the rest of this team comp than the Callista will. Callista, again, does damage, but she kind of needs the duelist trait in, and like duelist doesn't really fit that well with this team composition. Whereas Sivir's ult will provide attack speed to the rest of the team, and that's really helpful because to run a keeper's comp, everybody's going to be really bunched up on your team. In order to get the keeper shield, everybody's going to have to stand next to each other, so they're going to be close enough to all take advantage of Sivir's attack speed boost. In the end, I just decided I'll play both of them because I needed damage in my team comp. That's what was lacking. And so I took Pike out. Pike's great for providing crowd control. I am going to keep him on my bench because there's a good case I might want to play him again later on down the road. He might be able to pick up Assassin trait for me, or he could also pick up Slayer trait. So he's a handy unit to have around. But for right now, I'm just going to play both Sivir and Callista because, as I said, that's what I need. I need damage. And you really want to be thinking about things in that way when you're building a team comp. You want to be thinking, what does my team have? What is my team lacking? And I identified correctly that my team was lacking in damage. My team had great tankiness. The shields from Keeper provide a lot of survivability. I had very good crowd control with the Jarvan and the Rakan, and previously the Pike, all of who provide crowd control. But I didn't have actual damage, so that's what I needed, and that's why I've put in those 2 units, which otherwise are kind of weird and don't synergize together all that well. All right, so I'm still hoping to find a BF sword for that Guardian Angel on Kennen, and I do finally get it, and I was like, yay, now I've got what I want here. So I'm going to look to go ahead and level to 7 here, I believe, so that I can go ahead and put in another unit. I also can make a Last Whisper, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm trying to decide whether to put it on Sivir or the Callista. Sivir can use it better, but Callista is 2-star, and I'm probably more likely to sell the Callista down the road if I would find a Samira or something. So we're going to go ahead and level up to 7. That allows me to put Sharpshooter in for the Sivir. And I'm also now going to look for one more keeper. Need to find either the Xayah, who would get me up to 6 keepers, or alternately I could find an Azir, although the odds of finding Azir are definitely lower. I also made a Dragon's Claw on the Elise, and that's going to make her very tanky. That huge magic resistance bonus that she gets from having that on. With her being a 3-star unit and having the Dragon's Claw, she's actually a really good frontliner. You know, even as a 1-cost unit, she can frontline very effectively thanks to having the and she gets the Keeper Shield too. So she's going to have the Keeper Shield for, I don't know, like 1,000 damage shield at the start of every fight, something like that, because she's standing next to so many other units. Aha, now here we get another big hit. So 2 big hits. I get the Xayah, so that can get me up to Keeper 6, and I also get the Aatrox, who will get me, who will keep Cultists and also get me up to, and also get that all-important pull, so that he'll pull units in so that Kennen gets hit. So there we go, 250 shield, 12-second duration. And we're looking pretty good here right now. I've had good luck in hitting what I need to hit. You saw me sell the Sivir. I think that was a mistake. I should have just held the Sivir just in case I would random my way into an early Samira. Like, not play the Sivir right now. I have no sharpshooters in, but hold the Sivir. You never know. So look at the size of those shields. That white on the health bars is the shield. Kennen's shield is like double the size of his actual health bar at the start of these fights. So it really provides a lot of tankiness. Now, again, it does only last for 12 seconds. It does time out eventually, but like 12 seconds is long enough for most of these fights to be decided. So the benefit's quite large, and it's very nice against a duelist comp like that. Who's that? Adjoker running a duelist comp. The duelist comp wants to get on top of your units and kill them quickly, and the Keeper Shield just kind of drags the fight out and makes it hard for that to happen. Here I'm going to pick up 2 Jaxes. The reason why I'm picking up Jax is I want to put him in at level 8 to provide the duelist trait. I'm playing through Callista as like a secondary carry after Kennen, and since she runs Duelist, the Jax is the unit that I want to play so that she can have Duelist trait. Callista's not that good without attack speed, and I have no Duelist in right now, so she has no attack speed. So she's definitely not as good as it could be, But, you know, if I can get the Jax in and then maybe replace Jax with Lee Sin down the road, then the Callista will start to take off and I'll have what I'm looking for. So here's a check-in with Walloper. Walloper's gone to level 8 early, so he did what was good. He was on a long winning streak and managed to bank a ton of health, so he used that to go to early level 8, and now at level 8 he can look to find the remaining Fabled units for his team comp. The problem for him is he doesn't have a Quicksilver Sash on his Nico, and if you saw in the fight there, the Aatrox pulled the Nico right into the middle of my team, where Kennen ulted and then killed the Nico. Look, the Nico did no damage. He did 97 damage in that fight. And the one of the weaknesses of a Fabled comp, they tend to be very tanky comps, but they are very limited in their damage output, and they tend to be heavily reliant on Nico to provide that damage. So if Nico doesn't have a Quicksilver, and she generally doesn't build a Quicksilver, it's not one of her key items. If she doesn't have a Quicksilver, she's vulnerable to getting pulled in by Aatroxes. And if you watch these fights, Aatrox is going to be pulling in units in each fight. Okay, so now we have a chance to look to pick up another item here. I have been win streaking, so I'm up actually the person who has the most, has the most health in the game right now. So I'm going to have to pick based on what's left over. And there's nothing here that's critical. I'm probably just going to take something that's on a more expensive champ. So I can get a tier or a chain vest, and I decided to take the chain vest because I think, well, it's half of a Guardian Angel. I could always make a Guardian Angel and slap it on Callista, and that would be a pretty decent use of the item. Or alternately, if I would find like another more advanced unit, I could always transfer that. Guardian Angel is generally good on everybody, so I thought that that was the most flexible item that I could make. Now, since I'm on a win streak, I've won 5 games in a row, I will go ahead and level to 8 at an early time as well. That will allow me to put Jax in, and Jax will make the Duelist trait for Callista, give her that extra attack speed so that she can do a better job of killing enemy units. Also increases the odds to find legendary units. Now I have 5% odds to find legendary units, and this is a comp that doesn't really play into too many legendary units. Obviously, there's Azir. We'd love to replace one of our weaker early game keepers with an Azir because he provides so much crowd control in addition to the shielding. But, you know, we'll see what happens and go from there. Wow, what a great Aatrox pull. Just, like, grabs the entire back line for that team and sets them up to get hit by the Kennen ult and also Xayah's feathers flying right there. Again, note how Elise just stays alive, like, forever in these fights, thanks to having that Dragon's Claw. She is extremely tanky in these fights. Now, I'm hoping Kennen can get off one last ult here to deal with the Lulu. The Morellonomicon provides that healing debuff for the Lulu, who likes to provide that extra health. And so we're able to win this round. And I'm glad that I went to level 8 there in order to get the earlier odds of in order to get the extra unit in. Also to have the higher odds of finding legendary units, but also just to get the extra unit in. I think Callista was a lot more effective. Okay, so once again, we're in the same position we were in stage 2. I've been win streaking here. I have one more round until the minion round. It's very important that I win this round so I can keep the win streak going, keep my economy strong, and then get that, I think I've won like 6 rounds in a row, keep that extra income going into the minion round. I'm also 1 gold away from hitting 40, so it would be like doubly nice to get a win here. So this time we're up against another Fabled comp, and by the way, poor Walloper was being contested on Fable with 2 other players in this lobby. There were 3 people playing Fabled, which is really bad because Fabled, generally for its win conditions, it needs to 3-star either Nautilus or Nico or both. And the good news for me is I'm able to cut through the front line on this team comp. This Nico does have a Quicksilver, but we're able to cut through the front line and knock that player down to 5 HP. So maybe that player could get knocked out, and then Walloper will only be contested with 1 other player instead of being contested on Fabled with 2 other players. Also, he's hitting someone here who is apparently not using their items. But yeah, poor Walloper being contested so heavily. And now here I get another huge bit of RNG luck. I find my way into this early Samira here, and I'm like, oh man, Samira, that would be great. And so at first I was like, well, you know, I made the decision not to play the Sivir. I made the decision to go with Callista, so I'll just leave that. And then like 2 seconds later, I was like, wait, no, that's stupid. Why would I not pick up the Samira? All I have to do is find 1 Sivir, and we're good to go here with Samira. I can just drop the Jax, drop the Callista, play into Sivir, and play into Samira. That's way better. And the Last Whisper that's on Callista is better on Samira anyway. And then, so let's see, what items do we get here? And it's like, oh, I get another Guardian Angel. These are perfect Samira items. And then, boom, there's a Sivir in the shop. So it's like, all right, well, let's make this substitution. Thank you, Callista. You were great, but we're going to sell you Last Whisper on Samira, Guardian Angel on Samira. That's great. And now I've got 2 Chain Vests. And I was like, all right, let's just use the Reforger, see what we get. And we get what is it? A jeweled gauntlet. Now that would be good on Kennen, but he's already fully itemized. So I just go ahead and put this on Samira. It's not an ideal item for her, but it's not bad. It's definitely not a bad item. It will give her extra critical strike chance. And then I find another Samira, and I was like, oh my god, another Samira. And I also find another Kennen. So this was just unbelievably good luck on these rolls. This is high rolling for sure. I've got 2 Samiras. I've just 2-starred Kennen, and that's what I was rolling for, now that I remember this. I was rolling because I wanted to 2-star Kennen, and then I find an Azir. And I was like, oh my god. But I make a mistake here because I don't typically play these keeper comps. I actually don't pick up the Azir. I just totally forget that I'm playing a keeper's comp and that Azir is my late game legendary unit. So I actually don't buy him here. That's pretty bad, you guys. Oh well. And then it was like, I think at some point here I hover the keepers to like look at what the keepers are, and then I belatedly realize, oh my god, I should have picked up that Azir. How could I have been so dumb not to pick up that Azir? So he'll come back. We'll have more opportunities to get Azir. But now that I have 2-star, and then here it is. I'm like, oh, Azir. Oh my god. I totally passed that Azir in the shop, didn't I? I would just play him over Rakan or maybe Xayah, but probably Rakan right now. Oh well. Live and learn. Got to learn to get better. But now that I've 2-starred the Kennen, I definitely want to go to level 9 here. I'm not close to 3-starring anything, and if I can get to level 9, I have really good odds to find another Samira, and then I'll have Samira 2-star, and that's, again, another win condition right here. So Samira gets popped, but she's got the Guardian Angel, so that allows her to come back to life and get her ult off. And I have 2 of the champions that are probably some of the best to have a Guardian Angel on in the game. Samira and Kennen are both... Guardian Angel is so integral to both of them because, I mean, they have very similar ults, long-channeled ults that can get interrupted if they die. So, you know, slap that Guardian Angel on them so that they'll get their ultimate off. And if they die during their ultimate, it'll continue to keep channeling because the Guardian Angel animation will play and their ult will keep going off. So there you go. Samira, not necessarily a unit that plays into keeper comps all the time, but it's definitely possible because, as I said, you've got the cultist in there with Elise and with Aatrox, and then you pick up Sivir. There's your third cultist. And then you just put Samira in, and you got sharpshooters on the Samira. So it's, like I said, it's not integral to this comp. A lot of the time you'd be looking to put your AD items on Xayah, but like I didn't find Xayahs in this game. I still only have 2-star Xayah, so there's no real reason to put like my AD items on Xayah because she's just, you know, it didn't really hit her this game. So Samira, again, dies in the middle of her ult, but she comes back to life and will continue channeling it. This Nunu is very, very tanky. But, you know, we do have the healing debuff on him, so he's not going to be able to keep healing. And Elise is still alive, still tanking, still absorbing that damage from this other team. We did lose Samira, but Kennen's still up. Going to continue getting off multiple ults. I think this is like his 3rd ult in the fight here as we are into overtime. And even though Lulu is very strong in overtime, are able to finish that one off. His Morellos did like 3,000 true damage in that fight from burning everybody on the other team. All right, so stage 5 carousel, 3 players are out. We're starting to get down to the remaining players. I'm on a very, very lengthy winning streak here. Ever since I was able to get up to 6 keepers, I've just been on like a great win streak. So a lot of good stuff here. Again, I would have taken that Zephyr, but it got grabbed by other players. So I'm just going to take the Azir. He has a bad item. Infinity Edge is not an item you want on Azir, but I'll just take the Azir for the Azir. There wasn't really anything else in there that I really wanted. Like I didn't want a Ludens or something like that. Infinity Edge would have been a great 3rd item from Samira, but it's not there. And then I don't even have to go to 9. I just find the 2-star Samira here at level 8. WTF, what is this high roll in this game? So I got 3 Samiras at level 8. And I rolled like nothing. Out of all the games I've rolled, 80 gold and not found what I was looking for, this is the exact opposite. I have rolled virtually nothing and found 3 Samiras, and, sometimes you just high roll. So I'm looking at the other comps. I did see that someone had a Shroud, and I was like, if I'm in this position, the Shroud's going to miss me. And that's exactly who I hit. I hit the player with the Shroud, and the Shroud hits nothing because I was positioned to avoid it. I actually thought this was one of the stronger comps remaining, so I was hoping to knock them out before they could kind of continue to get stronger just because they have very good Olaf items in there. But we're going to kill the rest of the team. Their Shroud didn't hit me, and now we just have to finish off the Olaf, and there we go. And I was like, whoo! And they're out of the game. And I was glad to see that because I thought that was a pretty strong team that they had there. I did not want them continue scaling up with those Olaf items. And they also go to Shroud. Shrouds are really bad for keeper team compositions because in order to get the keeper benefit, you have to stand next to one another. You really you really don't want people to have Shrouds. They can easily shroud your entire team. So now we're up to top 4. Only 4 of us left, so I'm going to go ahead and just continue pushing levels. I'll go 9 after the minion rounds, and then we'll look to roll. Now, in terms of what I'm looking to put in here, I've got a couple different options. I would really like to get Slayer in for Samira, but the problem is in order to get Slayer in, I would have to drop the 6 keepers, or I would have to drop the Aatrox, and I really don't want to do either of those things. Walloper is the one who picked up the Zephyr, by the way, so I'm going to have to keep an eye out for him Zephyring. And I was worried that he was looking to Zephyr my Samiro, who is the correct unit to Zephyr, by the way. But it turns out I don't hit him. I hit the other Fabled player. So maybe I can help Walloper out by knocking out the other Fabled player. So we're going to try to get that Aatrox ult off. That Nico on the other team is going to be strong, but there's no Guardian Angel. There's no Gunblade for healing. So once we kill the Nico on the other team, there's just nothing left. And Samira got off a nice ultimate. So we do knock that player out. And now those units will go back in the pool, and hopefully Walloper will have better odds of finding maybe 3-star versions of some of his units. Looks like he almost has 3-star Wukong, although that's not going to be super relevant at this stage of the game. But like I said, in terms of my team comp, I wanted to get Slayers in. That's why Tryndamere's on the bench, because he's a Slayer option. So like I could maintain Slayers and Cultists if I take out the... if I put in Tryndamere at 9, and then I put in Pike for Aatrox. I could do that, but the thing is, Aatrox is really important for this team comp. I really need him pulling people on the other team in so that they'll get hit by Kennon's ult. So I don't really want to take him out. And I have to decide whether I want to drop down to Keepers 4 and get Slayers in, or stay at Keeper 6 and accept that I'm just not going to have Slayer in. By the way, some decent item drops here. We get the triple item drop, which is good for me because it means no gold for the other players. I don't need gold. They need gold more than me, and we all get the extra items. So I'll pick up the Pike to have that option. Now I'm going to roll, and it's partly going to depend on what I hit. It's partly going to depend on what, like, if I can 2-star, I was thinking if I can 2-star a legendary unit, then I'll look to drop down to Keepers 4 and play more legendary units. But if I can't 2-star another legendary unit, then I probably stay with Keepers 6 here. So yeah, I'm like looking to play the Pike, and then I'm like, no, Tryndamere, if I'm going to play one of these units, Tryndamere's probably better, although I don't know if I make that decision for this round or a later round. There's another Tryndamere. So again, it's going to depend on what we hit. Tryndamere would be better, though, because he would actually make Warlord for this comp. And by the way, I'm up against Walloper, who did position that Zephyr correctly. Note that I have a Sand Soldier way out on the corner, specifically so it will be the target for things like Aurelian Soul Blast, although I don't think anyone's playing Aurelian Soul in this game, or Aatrox pulls. So that's why I have the Sand Soldier off there in the corner, and it did in fact get pulled. Okay, so now we're going to roll again, and we hit the 2-star Aatrox, and we hit the 2-star Tryndamere. So at that point, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to switch out of the 6 keepers. I'm going to play Tryndamere, and I'm going to play Aatrox, because I 2-starred them. Now, maybe if I can 2-star a legendary unit, I'd think about changing that, but if I don't 2-star a legendary unit, aside from the Azir, that's actually a nice hit for me, but like if I don't 2-star like a Lee Sin or a Swain or I don't know, like a Set or something like that, if I don't 2-star these units, there's no point in swapping out. What I have is better. So it looks like this is just our board right now. And it's a pretty good board here. We've got the 6 keepers, and we've also got, we made the 2-star Azir. We've got 2-star Samira back there. Samira has good items. We've got the Kennen with very good items as well. So it's just very hard for the other teams to cut through the setup I have here. Like Samira's going to ult and kill everything. This is the other player who's not Walloper, Matty Mo. So, I mean, we're looking pretty good here. And this is a ghost round, so second place is probably going to be decided by who wins this round, which unfortunately is won by the other player, Matty Mo. I'm actually on a 14-match winning streak, by the way, so yeah, I'm looking pretty strong here. I'm feeling pretty confident about my setup. I don't think I can really improve on this too much further. Like I said, and maybe if I hit a legendary unit of some kind, but I think this is our board. I think we've got what we need here. And we've 2-starred all our relevant units. Elise is still in there, still tanking. There was no real need to change her up for another unit. And I'm looking at this other team, but I don't see any obvious way to reposition. It's also kind of a pain in the butt to reposition keeper comp. So we'll just stay here. I think this is fine. When you've won 14 rounds in a row, there's not a huge incentive to try to like change your positioning because what you're doing is working. The one fear would be as if Lee Sin kicks out like Samira, but we kill the Lee Sin before he gets anything off, and so it looks like we're going to win this round pretty easily. I have like my entire team alive, and yeah, so I mean, if the other player just FFs and quits the game, and so that's that. End the game by winning 15 rounds in a row. So I guess that was a keeper comp that came together nicely. And Walper got third, which is great considering how contested he was with other Fabled players. Well, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this game. It was an extreme high roll, but I think it does show a little bit about how to play a keeper comp and some of the options that you can play into while playing keepers. So anyway, until next time, hope you guys are having a great week. Take care, and I'll see you guys again soon.